talk about the song Slower Than Light off Clone of the Universe. And this song starts with a very slow halftime beat, snare on the 3, very, I guess you could say, primeval caveman sort of slothy type sludge beat, which I like a lot. It's very challenging to play actually, and get the tempo just right so it's not too slow and too fast. But the actual intro to that part is a really long press roll, and I kind of stole this idea from Roger Taylor of Queen. I was listening to Live at the Rainbow 1974, which if you haven't heard, check that out. A lot of great drumming on it, and he did that in a song that's on that record, and I was trying to figure out if he was single stroking it or if he was double stroking, and just kind of fooling around with that. And I've heard it in a couple of other Queen songs too, so you know, there's a lift, there's an influence right there. And anyways, it starts with that over a 4 count, and then just goes into the beat, which kind of lumbers along for the first section. So I'm going to demonstrate the press roll and count, and also the main beat of what is the verses and the choruses of the song. So here it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now we come to the fills that end the first part of the song before we go into the odd time section on the end, which is a completely different tempo, and I believe it's 2 different time signatures, although we'll get to that later. So in this section, I had a chance to do some stuff that I had been just fooling around with. One was a really long fills using the new concert toms that I got, and dubbed these guys the Henleys just because they sound like, hopefully I don't have to pay a royalty for that, but I wanted to get some use out of them and put them in different places all over the record. So the first section of that, I want to break down the fills and how to play each one individually, slowly, and then play them at normal tempo. The first ones are just a big flam over here on the floor toms, and then the second fill involves the snare and some of these toms over here. The third long one is the coast to coast fill that goes from here all the way around, and then the very last one, which when we were recording it I broke my foot pedal on, is the quad fill between the floor tom, the rack tom, and the double bass. This old chestnut, that one. So I managed to work that in there, and then we were trying to do one whole take of the song. Didn't work out because I broke the pedal. But Ludwig is very kind, and a new Atlas pedal was there before the session was over. So there you go. So here's the fill section, slowed down, picked apart, and check it out. same spot. Yeah, same spot, yeah. Okay, so now for the odd time section at the end of the song. This particular pattern that is played over the guitar riff is something that I'm still quite not sure exactly how to count, because in the second section there's actually a half of a full count. So the best way to play this is when the guitar riff comes in. Scott Hill showed us this riff, and I had to tag it on the end of the second time with 2 hits, because there's an extra 2 hits. So it's da 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 da. So those last 2 hits help to turn it around. And listening to some of the heroes of progressive rock and odd time signatures talk about how they figure out odd times, again, it's more of a sing the rhythm of what it is that you're playing to back to yourself, so it becomes sort of a melodic rhythm, and play to that. And you know, a lot of the times people will present you with guitar riffs and bass parts and stuff, and they won't think about counting. They'll just drop beats here and there. So it's not really up to you as a drummer to go, hey, this is how you count it. It's just try and play along to what they're doing. And you know, usually what happens is you come up with something that's kind of interesting, because you're not exactly doing it by the book. So this is that pretty much the epitome of that right there. And I think this particular song never really changed from the original demo that we did of it, because the demo was so good and the parts were so on that I think we all listened to it and went, okay, we just have to duplicate that, and we've got it. And it was one of the earlier songs written for the record. So to count this section, again, I think the best thing to do is just to sing that riff, and I'm going to play the section slow and show you an example of how to do some fills over the beat. Even the beat in a slow example is it's very interesting to play, and it just makes me think of a lot of other bands and stuff that I like. I'm influenced by, and drummers that do things where you would expect them to turn stuff around at a certain point, but they don't. And I think that tag really helps on the end with the 2 beats, which you'll see in the slower examples. And then I'm going to play you the actual tempo of everything with the end of the song as well. And this is going to be a big challenge, I think, for a lot of people. A lot of people have asked me about it, and I'm hoping that we play this song live, because it's going to be killer to duplicate, and a lot of energy went into this part. So check it out. Okay, so that is Slower Than Light, and hope you guys enjoy trying to play that one. I still enjoy trying to play it, and I'm hoping that we play it live very soon so that everyone can enjoy it together. So there you go, more songs from Clone of the Universe on the way.